You're such an unreliable sister. We need to go big for the Christmas party, so we have to make a lot. Order some more appetizers and steaks. That's my sister Chelsea, always bossing me around. I did as Chelsea asked, ordered takeout, and pack up everything. Then, to my overly excited sister and her husband, I said, "Well, I'm heading home now." My name is Taylor, a 32-year-old office worker. I've been married to Orland for a year now. We're really close, and our newlywed life has been truly blissful. But then, after father-in-law passed away due to illness, Orland asked me to move in with my mother-in-law Kyla at his family home. I was really anxious about living together, but Kyla was incredibly kind and quickly eased my worries. She taught me her special recipes and treated me so well. Life with just Orland was fun, but I've come to really enjoy our time as a family of 3. I feel blessed to have married into such a wonderful family and cherish these happy days. However, there's something that worries me. My own family. How's Mom feeling today? Oh, I'm doing really well today. I'm currently at a care facility where my mom lives. My dad passed away about 3 years ago, and since then, Mom had been living with my sister and her husband at our family home. But after Mom's legs got weak, they quickly moved her into this care facility. What's worse, I only heard about Mom's situation directly from her, not from my sister. Angry that Chelsea hadn't consulted me, I went to talk to her once. Chelsea just got defensive and lashed out irrationally. Your opinion doesn't matter, Taylor. We were the ones living with her after all. Still, you could have at least told me beforehand. Stop nagging. Why don't you take care of her then? I can't. I'm already living with Orland's mother. Then don't complain. Chelsea and I were never that close. She's always been crafty, tricking our parents with her eloquence to get what she wants since we were kids. At times, she even used me to beg our parents for things. I always looked at Chelsea with a cold gaze. Didn't she feel ashamed to go to such lengths to satisfy her desires? Seemingly aware of my cold gaze, Chelsea always snapped at me. So my sister and I used to fight a lot and argue frequently. Dad would always end up scolding both of us. Really? I thought having 2 daughters would make for a quiet and peaceful home. Turns out we're noisier than the neighbors with their 2 boys. I vividly remember Dad grumbling like that. After Chelsea left for college and started living alone, our home became peaceful. However, I feel like we still clash every time we met, especially during Christmas. As adults, Chelsea married before I did. I met her husband for the first time at a family introduction, and he seemed to have a similar personality and aura to Chelsea. Apparently, Chelsea hardly ever visited our parents' house after her marriage. I was already working and living on my own then, so I didn't know much. But I heard from Mom that Chelsea rarely showed her face. A few years later, Chelsea had a son. I met my nephew Stuart for the first time at a Christmas gathering. He was just born and very adorable. Then Dad passed away, and a year after that, I got married. I kept my distance from my sister and her family. We mostly met during Christmas, about once a year. So when I heard Mom was quickly moved to a facility after her legs got weak, my distrust towards my sister and her husband grew significantly. They had said they moved in with Mom to keep her company after Dad's passing. But then, they quickly cast her aside as soon as she needed care. Did Chelsea discuss with you, Mom, about moving you to the facility? No. It was more like she was forced. She said she couldn't do it because of her childcare responsibilities. Her husband agreed and started looking for a facility right away. That's terrible. Was the living situation before your legs got weak just as bad? Mom looked down a bit when I asked. Yes, even when you scolded her. Chelsea always dumped all the housework on me. She even left Stuart scared to me. I was getting tired, so maybe moving to the facility was for the best. Mom. It saddened me to hear Mom had been through so much. After Dad died, Chelsea inherited a family home. I wondered if my sister and her husband had been waiting to take over the house, to live rent-free, and to get rid of Mom, the nuisance. It seemed like something Chelsea would do. She would always prioritize herself first. I visited Mom regularly at the facility, but Chelsea hadn't shown her face even once. She probably didn't care much about our parents. In fact, Chelsea didn't seem too distraught even when Dad died. But when it came to the funeral and inheritance, she and her husband were very proactive. The heirs were Mom and us sisters, but Chelsea's husband kept butting in. Though Dad's estate wasn't much, just the family land and house, they repeatedly suggested that Mom and Chelsea should inherit it. I'll take care of Mom, so let's live together, Chelsea had said, convincing Mom. Mom asked me what I thought, and honestly, I didn't mind who inherited the house. If Chelsea was willing to take care of Mom, I was okay with her inheriting it. After I shared my thoughts, Mom agreed, and we decided to let Chelsea inherit the land and house. My sister and her husband, quite different from how they were during the funeral, efficiently prepared for the inheritance and completed the process quickly. Then they moved into our family home and started living together. It seemed more about acquiring the house than living with Mom, but I was glad Mom wouldn't have to live alone in her old age. However, living with my sister and her husband turned out to be a nightmare for Mom. When I visited home, like during Christmas, Mom would always express her dissatisfaction when we were alone. Apparently, Chelsea, though a homemaker, dumped all the household chores on Mom and even had her take care of her son. Mom had to take Stuart to and from daycare and play with him. I'm already 68 and getting weaker. Chelsea does nothing, leaving Stuart to me and going out during the day. Such a thing. I trusted Chelsea to take care of Mom, but at that time, I had just started living with Kyla, so I couldn't live with Mom myself. I thought I needed to talk to Chelsea and ask her at least to take care of her own son. Putting all the burden on Mom isn't right. But Chelsea irrationally lashed out. Huh? We're living together to help her out. Mom should do at least that much. You don't have kids, Taylor. You don't know how hard parenting is. A childless housewife shouldn't interfere. That's no way to talk. You said you'd take care of Mom, but it looks like she's the one taking care of you. Don't twist the conversation and attack me. Chelsea, red-faced with anger, yelled even more. Shut up! You're always so argumentative and annoying. If you don't like how I do things, stay out of it. With that, she forced me out of the house. I hadn't even come to see her in the first place. Since then, it's been hard for me to return home. So I kept in touch with Mom over the phone. One day, she told me she had moved into a care facility. I was furious that Chelsea hadn't consulted me, and we had another fight. Our relationship, already strained, was at its worst. I visited Mom regularly at the facility, but Chelsea never did. Thankfully, the care facility seemed to be of good quality, and Mom was living comfortably. Her pension was enough to cover the expenses. It was probably more peaceful and less burdensome for her than being saddled with household chores and childcare. So I continued my days, keeping an eye on Mom's condition. Then I unexpectedly received a call from Chelsea. I was on edge. It's rare for Chelsea to call. I had a bad feeling. Was she going to ask for something troublesome? Or had something happened to Mom? With tension, I answered the phone. Hello, what's up? Chelsea started talking in an annoyed tone. I'm bringing Mom back to the family home for Christmas, so Taylor, help me with the caregiving. Wait, what do you mean? Mom wants to spend Christmas at home. My husband and I are too busy, so you help Mom, okay? I was surprised by this sudden request. All right then, thanks. Wait, hang on! And just like that, the call ended. I thought about how self-centered Chelsea always is, but decided to check with Mom anyway. When I visited her at the facility, yes, Chelsea suggested it. I thought it would be nice to spend some time in that house again, Mom said. It sounded like Chelsea had made it seem like Mom wanted to return, but maybe she was just embarrassed to admit it was her idea. I felt happy, thinking Chelsea did care about Mom after all. So I decided to join in and take care of Mom. Orlan and Kyla smiled and told me to go. So I prepared to visit my family home for the first time in a while. And then Christmas came. I took Mom and headed to the family home. When we arrived, Chelsea greeted us. Good to see you. Once you put down the luggage, could you help with some things? Chelsea said as she let us in. Sure, what do you need help with? To my surprise, Chelsea demanded. Could you start by cleaning all the rooms? All of them? I exclaimed in shock. Chelsea with a cold gaze. I told you we're busy, didn't I? She retorted. Although I had my reservations, I decided to comply quietly, considering I had brought Mom here, and it was now my sister's house. As I started cleaning earnestly, Stuart began to interfere. He started messing up the areas I had just cleaned. Could you please stop that? Why? I'm just playing. It's troublesome if you mess up what I've just cleaned. Stuart continued to make a mess, unconcerned. The house was large, and cleaning was already challenging. Increasing the workload was the last thing I needed. So I spoke to him a bit more firmly. Can't you understand when I say stop? If you don't behave, I'll get angry. Then Stuart started crying loudly. Chelsea rushed over and yelled at me. What are you doing making him cry? I can't believe this. Well, he's messing up the place I just cleaned. Kids makes messes, you know? That's what they do. This is why people without children just don't get it. I was infuriated by Chelsea's condescending attitude. But then Mom, I'll take care of Stuart, she said, stepping in between us. But Mom, hit your legs. You shouldn't. It's fine. I have a secret trick to keep Stuart quiet. Mom took out some snacks and comics from her bag and handed them to Stuart, who happily started eating and reading. Chelsea warned me. If you make him cry again, he'll have me to answer to. And then she left. Relieved, I resumed cleaning and finally finished, exhausted. Next, Chelsea handed me a note with a list of groceries. Go, buy everything on this list. Excuse me? Hurry up, before the relatives arrive. What? I was taken aback. Wait a minute. Are relatives coming too? Yes, they are. Is there a problem? We've never done this before. I thought it was just going to be our family. It's none of your business, Taylor. From now on, we're hosting lavish parties with relatives. It will boost our reputation. Is it okay to have Mom around so many people? She's not strong, you know. It might be too much for her. Chelsea snapped at me. Oh, stop it. I'm in charge of this house. Just do as you are told. I invited Mom to show the relatives how well I'm taking care of her. What? We lived with her, so it's only right we create an opportunity to be praised for it. I was shocked. She invited Mom from the care facility just for that? Can you just get moving? You're so slow, Taylor. Seriously, you're such a useless sister. We need to go big for the Christmas party, so make sure to buy plenty. Appetizers and steaks and get them from a department store or something. Chelsea ordered me around and then left the room. I was speechless. She wasn't thinking of Mom at all. She just wanted to use Mom to get praise from others. When I went to find Chelsea, she was lounging on the living room sofa, watching TV. She was making me work while planning to take all the credit herself. I suddenly felt everything was ridiculous. Being used like this, neither Mom nor I would be happy. I'd probably just be worked to the bone during the party. When I quietly told Mom what Chelsea had said, she was shocked. I thought I'd get to relax. I haven't mingled with relatives in years, and it makes me uneasy. And Chelsea invited me just for this. Mom, let's go back home today. I'll call Orland. I immediately phoned Orland and asked if it was okay to bring Mom to our place. After explaining, Orland and Kyla agreed. Of course, come over, Kyla said. Let's go back now, Mom. I ordered appetizers and steaks as Chelsea instructed and pack up. I could hear my sister and her husband and Stuart chatting in the living room.
We're having a feast today. Lots of appetizers and steaks. Yay, awesome.
I can drink lots of beer too. Leaving everything to me and expecting to have fun is not how the world works. After packing, I put the bags in the car and helped Mom inside. Then I went back inside and headed to the living room. To my overly excited sister and her husband, I said, Well, I'm heading home now.
What? Wait, Taylor, what are you talking about? What about the cooking? The appetizers? You should do what you were asked to.
Chelsea berated me. Don't worry, I've ordered the appetizers and steaks as you asked. This made Chelsea a bit quieter.
But who will take care of Mom? I asked you to look after her.
Don't worry, Mom's already in the car.
Wait, what? That makes no sense. I need to show the relatives I'm taking care of Mom.
What's the point of lying? Even without Mom and me, you can still enjoy your lavish party, right? Chelsea's face turned red with anger.
Why are you speaking so formally all of a sudden, Taylor? Bring Mom back right now. I won't return her until after the party.
Faced with Chelsea's unreasonable anger, I firmly told her, Please, don't use Mom and me for your convenience. We're cutting ties with you. With that, I left the house and got into the car. My sister and her husband stood there, faces pale, watching me. We then headed to my in-laws' house. Orland and Kyla warmly welcomed Mom. I hope you don't mind eating what I've made. We have beef stew and appetizers. Despite her modesty, Kyla's cooking is quite delicious. Mom, visibly moved, said, Oh, this is delicious, as she enjoyed the appetizers. Mom and Kyla, being close in age, got along very well. I thought to myself that I should have brought Mom here from the start. I saw dozens of calls from Chelsea on my phone, but I didn't want to deal with her that day. So I turned off my mobile and enjoyed the party with the four of us. Then, after the New Year, my sister and her husband suddenly showed up at my in-laws' place.
Taylor, what have you done? Why didn't you pay for the appetizers and steaks?
They were angry about the bill for the food I had ordered.
Because of you, Taylor, we had to pay a bill of $2,000. Pay us back right now.
They demanded unreasonably. I calmly responded, I only ordered because you asked me to. Since I didn't attend, I don't owe you anything, right?
Shut up! We don't want to suffer this loss. You're my sister, so you should listen to me.
Chelsea was unreasonable again. Then Mom spoke up.
Enough, Chelsea. You're hopeless.
Taylor worked hard cleaning the house, even though you two weren't getting along. Yet you never thanked her and tried to get praise without doing anything. You should be ashamed. Even before I went to the facility, you persuaded me to let you inherit the house, promising to take care of me. But then you did nothing and dumped all the chores and childcare on me. Despite that, you're my child, and I've always loved you unconditionally. But when I hurt my legs, you quickly put me in a facility. You haven't even visited me once in almost a year. Taylor and I are done with you. We've told all the relatives and neighbors about your behavior.
What? The relatives said they won't go to your place anymore. And you know how the neighbors love to gossip. Some of your old classmates live in the area too. I'm sure they know all about this soon.
That's unbelievable. Don't think everything will always go your way. People who mistreat others end up being treated the same way. Maybe it's time for you to reflect on yourself, Chelsea. But we won't have anything to do with you anymore. My sister and her husband were ashen-faced. Orland then delivered the final blow. Can you leave now? If you come back uninvited, we won't hesitate to call the police. Hearing police, they hurriedly left. The gossip of police involvement would make it impossible for them to live in that house anymore. The neighbors reportedly avoid them now. Chelsea has become reclusive, but I feel no sympathy. It's her own doing. Meanwhile, I live happily with Orland and Kyla, regularly visiting Mom at the facility. She has made many friends there and says she is happier than when she was at home. I'm committed to cherishing my family and living each day with them.